I've been helping couples get pregnant for 20 years, which is just insane. A few years ago, I made a conscious decision to start sharing my truth about AMH and egg quality in order to help you understand that your fertility is much more than just one number. This was based on my own findings with the couples that I helped in my clinic and through my Hope Fertility Program. I know you've been told AMH is pretty much the most important factor that you need to look at when you're trying to conceive. But there are a few things that have happened since I started sharing my theories about AMH and ovarian reserve. Number one, lots of research has been done showing that my theory may not be just a theory. Number two, my community and Fertility TV watchers are being empowered, and now they can be proactive about their fertility, understanding that in order to get pregnant, you need to treat your body as a whole entity. And three, many new women have joined the Hope program in hopes to get my help to get pregnant, no matter what their AMH is saying. And they are seeing amazing results. So I've decided in this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 myths about your ovarian reserve so you can regain hope, take action, and get pregnant. If you're excited about this, give this video a like. Make sure to subscribe to get new fertility videos every week when I put them out. And if you're serious about getting pregnant and want me to be your fertility coach, the Hope Fertility Program is open for enrollment. Apply to qualify to speak with a member of my team to see if we can actually help you. You have nothing to lose. We don't ever work with couples in false promises and only accept applicants from people who we truly believe that we can help. Now let's talk about the 5 myths about your ovarian reserve. All right, myth number 1. You're born with all the eggs that you will ever have. I know that you've been taught this from a very young age. I think it's about time that we start to reteach this theory, because there is new research coming out that questions this and shows that that might not actually be the case. And actually, I put out a video recently that went much more in depth into the research and talked about what we're starting to see when it comes to, ovarian reserve and this belief that we can never regenerate or create new eggs in our ovaries, that we only lose eggs as we age. I think it's a little bit of an outdated theory and understanding, and I think it's about time that we start to question that and actually start to change our education and teaching when it comes to that understanding or that theory. Now, I will say that I have seen this to be different clinically, right? That belief that we only have as many eggs as we're born with, I've seen this to be very different clinically. But I also want to talk about myth number 2, which is your ovarian reserve can never improve. So let's just take for a moment the belief that you're only born with all the eggs you will ever have. Does it mean that your ovarian reserve can never improve? Well, it all depends on what we're actually looking at and what we're using as our gauge for that number. If we are using AMH as our primary vehicle or hormone or test to determine how many eggs you have left and can this number improve, then I'm here to tell you that that number can change, and I see it change and improve all the time. And I will also tell you that AMH is the primary hormone and number that is used to determine this. The only other thing that might be used for this will be ultrasound, looking at your ovaries to determine how many follicles that you're producing at any given cycle. But most of the time, you all are being told that you need to use AMH. And what I can tell you is that over 50% of the time, I see women with low AMH numbers improve those numbers. And those numbers increase on a regular basis by making the necessary changes to their health, their hormones, and their reproductive function. Myth number 3, low ovarian reserve cannot be noticed. There are no symptoms associated with it. That's not exactly true. First and foremost, if we are having irregular cycles, our cycles are becoming shorter or longer, then this can definitely be a symptom, so to speak, of ovarian reserve changes, and more specifically, hormonal changes. Okay, so that is something that we can notice and see. Number 2, menopausal symptoms. If you are starting to go through menopause, especially if you're doing that earlier than you should or expected to, or that your grandparents, your grandmother, and your mother did, then that can also be a sign. So if you're starting to notice irregular cycles, irregular bleeding, hot flashes, night sweats, this is a sign that the hormones are changing and that potentially your ovarian reserve is also decreasing. That can also be a symptom. But last, let's look at some signs which are really markers. Okay, and that could be done through lab testing and ultrasound like I mentioned previously. Lab testing would be primarily to look for the AMH marker. Is your anti-müllerian hormone marker showing the way it should? Okay, based on your age, is it staying where it needs to be? And then number two, ultrasound. When we look on an ultrasound, do your ovaries look and show that they have enough follicles or eggs in their ovaries that are ready to be used? And does that change, and how does it change from cycle to cycle? So those are some markers that we can follow and observe to see if you are kind of showing signs or symptoms of low ovarian reserve. Now, I don't say these things to scare you. I say these things because those are just the markers, and we're told that we can't see if our ovarian reserve is decreasing, but these are some symptoms and signs that we can monitor for that. Doesn't mean that can't be changed or improved. I'm just talking about what can you notice that might give you a sign or symptom that you need to start to pay more attention to this area. Myth number 4, I can't possibly get pregnant with low ovarian reserve. And you've probably read this or been told this, that it's not possible to get pregnant if you've been told that your AMH is decreased and you don't have a lot of eggs. And so the next normal recommendation would be to either do IVF, and sometimes that's not even enough, and they say that you have to do donor. There's nothing wrong with IVF or the donor option if that's the path you choose to go down. But I want to tell you that your AMH numbers and your lower ovarian reserve numbers are really more important if you are using IVF as a path to get pregnant. If you are choosing to get pregnant naturally, what we have seen through the research is that AMH is not a good marker and does not show that you will not be able to get pregnant. Actually, in fact, many women who have been able to get pregnant have had lower AMH. And so the one thing we need to remember when we're looking at this is we only need one good egg. That's right, one good egg. And that egg needs to be fertilized on any given cycle to achieve a pregnancy and implantation for that matter. So why does it matter if we have all these abundance of eggs if we really only need one? On any given normal cycle, you just need one healthy egg to be released and fertilized. And so whether your AMH is higher or lower, if you're having a regular cycle, if you're ovulating regularly, then we have one healthy egg that we can use to fertilize, to conceive. And that's all that really matters, right? In the end, we just need one. So even if your numbers are a little bit lower, I want you to stay positive and focus on having a regular cycle, regular ovulation, and that one good egg. This video is sponsored by the Fertile Mind app. Check the link in the description below for a 30-day access pass. Okay, myth number 5. Low ovarian reserve only happens when you are over 40. That's not the truth at all. Low ovarian reserve can happen at any age for various reasons. That's right. We can have all sorts of hormonal issues, genetic issues that will impact and cause your ovarian reserve to be lower than ideal or lower than it should be based on your age. But again, it doesn't matter to me how old you are and what those numbers are showing if we have a regular menstrual cycle, regular ovulation, and regular timed intercourse. You should still be able to conceive at home. And obviously that's not going to be the case for everybody. So when that's not happening, we need support. And on top of that, it also doesn't mean that you shouldn't do anything about it just because if you have been given that diagnosis of low ovarian reserve or low AMH, it doesn't mean that just because I'm saying these things that you don't have to take action to improve those numbers. I do want you to take action to improve those numbers, but I don't want that information to stunt you from trying naturally or from deterring you from continuing to try at all, regardless of the path that you choose to get pregnant with. I'm saying all of this because I want you to still be able to try and continue to try regardless of what those numbers are showing you. Now, you still might need help and you still might need support, whether that's through natural conception and support like my Hope Fertility Coaching Program, or if you decide to go through IVF, whatever that might be, or even donor for that matter, whatever that might be, whatever path you choose, I want you to know that it's still possible. But you do often still need to get the support and guidance to help you make and get those results. As I said, if you're really serious about getting pregnant and want my help, I want you to apply to qualify for the Hope program to see if we can help you. If you're not there yet, that's quite all right, but I still want you to have a little bit of support. So go ahead and grab this free guide with the 7 steps to empower your fertility. It's free with all actionable steps that you can take right now, and you can use the link in the description below to grab that. Now be sure to watch this video to keep learning about how to improve your fertility and get pregnant fast. It will help you get there a little bit faster. All right, everyone, until the next video, stay fertile.